Welcome, and thank you for attending today. My name is Joseph Panetta, and together with my partner Jesus Reyes, we're proud to present this showcase of Trinity Aesthetics technology, made by operators for operators with their investors in mind. We're grateful you gave us your time today, and we'll make this brief. On our call, we have an array of MSO owners, private equity backers of metastatic businesses and roll-ups, strategic backers, family offices, all who have interest in the sector. So to this end, we're offering a Calendly link in the chat, and there'll be a follow-up email. This link is provided to you to book one-on-one sessions with us for a deeper showcase or a deeper dive in case you have questions. So let's get started. We spoke with a number of MSO owners to validate the industry's pain points. We'll demonstrate how our technology is designed to solve those pain points. And for the uninitiated, this technology is not on the back of a napkin. It exists and it's been in the market since 2016. Jesus and I have both been working with it. We'll give you a little bit more of the history down the road. We'll share how the different players in the med spa industry and the cosmetic derm industry are meaningfully engaged across various Trinity touch points. And you'll see details about our pilot and its expected outcomes. Now, speaking of our attendees today, no one on this call needs education about the market size or the potential of this sector. All of the M&A activity is pretty well documented, but margins are flat and organic growth can be difficult to hold on to. We'll share how Trinity fuels that growth across the sector. So let's talk for a moment about what the ultimate vision of all of this is. Remember the players that I mentioned in the metastatic sector? Well, they encounter a lot of resistance and friction leading to those industry pain points that we validated. You have patients. They have to self-select, know they have a problem or believe they do. They have to locate a provider, make an appointment, buy the products, comply with the regimen, etc. Then you've got providers who attempt to continue the engagement, oftentimes using clunky systems leading to low results. It's typically text messages, email outreach, and phone calls. Finally, you've got the products and the procedures that are almost uniquely available at the practice location, meaning the patient has to go there to access them. Our vision is to smooth out all of that friction and create seamless, meaningful, easy engagements. You're going to hear the word meaningful a lot today, but it's not just about the seamlessness that we want to connect, but the repetitiveness here. This would be designed with a light lift from the provider, built on our automated generative AI system that leads to a product sale or a procedure booking. This is an endless loop. And we get there through what McKinsey calls hyperpersonalization, a key to growth in the health and wellness sector. Think of it as personalization on steroids. This is much more than getting your name stitched on the back of a pair of Nike sneakers or getting a pair of custom fit Levi's. This is deeply personal and hyper-specific to just you. So unlike what you have seen or maybe you've been shown, we learn about each end user deeply. We speak directly to them, and instead of offering some kind of out-of-the-box treatment protocol, their treatment protocol through the Trinity system is specifically designed to address their skin tone, their issues, their concerns. In effect, it develops a skincare regimen that is then vetted by the provider. Not just the regimen, but also the procedures and the products and the frequency, all vetted by the provider so that it becomes your specific regimen across products, ingredients, procedures, all on a one-click buy. Now, we need to be clear here. We're not offering medical advice. We gather data and intel and deliver a synthesis of this to the provider who decides what and how to deliver. We keep the SME engaged throughout the process in meaningful ways as well. Speaking of McKinsey, they say that companies offering generative AI software-based personalized opportunities are uniquely positioned to win. Thanks, McKinsey. We think so too. But probably most importantly, no one in the market is doing this. Now, you may have seen other DTC AI options like Glossier or Drunk Elephant or even Honest Beauty. These attempt to build a personalized connection with the user, and they tend to skew to a single product or a single brand offering, meaning they can't deliver true hyper-personalization because the product range may not be capable of addressing the user's concerns. Moreover, studies show that these DTC AI apps misstate outcomes up to 40% of the time. Almost none of them place an SME in the middle, ensuring professional support and oversight, which leads to better outcomes and reduced liability. In the end, none of them have the capabilities that we do. So remember we said that we talked with MSO owners and we validated the industry's pain points? The industry is extraordinarily poor at solving for ongoing, meaningful, there's that word again, patient engagement. Whether that engagement leads to a procedure booking or a product sale, it has to be desired, needed, and wanted. In other words, it has to have meaning. The industry is also fairly poor at patient reactivation, getting lapsed patients to come back in. Across the MSOs we spoke with, they told us that they have a less than 30% rebooking rate. Reactivating lapsed patients could result in dramatic revenue growth, but nothing takes the place of new patient recruitment. And across the MSOs that we talk to, it is a tertiary pain point, but nevertheless the lifeblood of an organization. The bottom line is that established practices could significantly increase their revenue potential with just the first two, but that doesn't offset the need for the third. Now, ultimately, these are not all of the pain points in the industry, but almost all of them stem from these, like determining the right service mix or provider billability rates, product inventory and product inventory management, even scheduling issues. So I told you about Trinity. Now's the time we get to introduce Trinity Technology. We indicated that it's not on the back of an envelope. In fact, we've been working with the technology since 2016. And in the beginning, we needed data to build our models. So we loaded the largest ever app onto the App Store. We secured 100,000 downloads at $199 each. Remarkable, right? But the facial scans and app interaction that we were able to achieve provided the input that was necessary to scale our models. Our models were so advanced and so good that we worked with Procter & Gamble's upstream product development team and Estee Lauder Company's product development team, for both of them for 2 years each. Why would those large conglomerates want to work with a small company like us? Because we solved something they couldn't solve. Our goal for the metaesthetics industry is to raise the floor, not the ceiling. We're looking to fuel the metaesthetics industry by providing this to everyone involved. That's why we present a turnkey solution that's specifically designed to address those industry pain points we discussed. And for those of you who understand AI, you'll know that there are different kinds of models, and we're a mix of the three. Generative powers our computer vision, those facial scans we'll talk about. Classification tells the AI what it saw, and so forth. The difference between ours and those DTC AI apps, beyond making sure that we keep the SME in the middle, is that we're GANs-based versus diffusion-based. Diffusion-based models are the result of them you've seen. That's where the imagery you can tell is a little fake, or wow, you can really understand that's not exactly real. GANs-based models create a very different output, one that's much more lifelike and much more realistic. Speaking of which, let's see what this looks like from the patient side. So a practice who uses Trinity Technology will encourage its patients to download the app, sign up and sign in. After they accept the terms of service and answer some questions like you see here, the user is asked to scan her face from 3 different angles to give us a baseline of where she is today. These scans take roughly 20 milliseconds. Her treatment plan is then generated a few milliseconds later based on her responses to the questions and what the generative AI has detected in those scans. Be very clear, generative AI can discern more than the human eye can, so the treatment plan will holistically address all of her issues. However, the patient does not receive the treatment plan. The treatment plan is sent to the provider. The provider will vet that treatment plan, which will then create a reason for the meaningful engagement with the patient. So it's a reverse of the typical pipeline. It's not a spreadsheet handed to a provider to call a patient who's lapsed. It's now the patient saying, hey, I got this treatment plan that says I need these procedures and these products to address these concerns. Is this valid? Now, when the provider reaches out, there's a reason for that conversation. It's expected, it's desired, it's purposeful. Also, remember we said that new patient recruitment was a tertiary point? Notice the circle here where it says share your experience. We connect with the social digital platforms for every patient. If they want to chart their journey and share with their friends how they're doing, they can do so, which builds into the network effect we'll talk about later. Over time, the Trinity app invites users to do additional scans. That means tracking and updates. The more it scans your face, the better it gets to know your face and understand your progress. Thus, the more hyper-personalized the service and the outcomes become. It keeps them coming back over and over. Did you know, for example, that a woman asks herself this question up to 30 times a day? That's your wife, your colleague, your daughter, your girlfriend, and it's global, not cultural. This isn't just in North America. And not to play into gender stereotypes, but Business Insider recently reported that white-collar working men are seeking med spa treatments to be able to compete in a younger work environment. Now, if you wear an Oura Ring, an Apple Watch, if you ever wore a Fitbit, if you track your steps with your iPhone or your sleep with a Sleep Number bed, you know the pull of health tracking in health tracking software. It keeps the users coming back to the platform over and over. Instagram calls it the science of addiction, others call it gamification. In our instance, the immediate get for the Trinity user is a skin health score. This helps them understand where their skin is that day and what they can do to improve it. So it helps them track their own progress, the visibility of those lines you had reduced by your Botox, your pore size, your hydration status, your filler status, you might be due for another Restylane. Again, this is where generative AI comes into play. Few things will keep people coming back like gamified vanity. For those of you who understand apps and sort of technology, you know that we need to present two things. The first is utilization. The app has to have a practical value or a real purpose. That's the treatment plan that leads to a consult with the provider, that leads to a procedure booking or a sale. The second thing is an immediate deliverable, the give to get. The person's given us their answers and their scans. The get is that skin health score. By continuing to monitor your skin health score, our AI will offer options for improving it, whether that's through product recommendations or a consult with your provider. Now, since we're talking about providers, Jesus is a former operator, having worked with many providers. He'll take you through Trinity's impact on the practice.
Great. We've seen the patient journey. Now let's examine how Trinity helps practices address those pain points that Joseph mentioned. Our first customizable dashboard you will see as the MSO or operator can tell you how Trinity can positively impact your practice. Here, you will see a general review of the MSO's activity, which will allow you to see data in real time, and be able to dissect it by location, provider, service, and product, not only for the day in progress, but also historical information as well, thus giving management the ability to understand the impact of their decisions much quicker. Secondly, you will be able to see the impact that Trinity has on re-engagement. As we've mentioned before, Trinity is designed to proactively reactivate patients in a way that is meaningful and effective with them. That is, of this population of 13,877 patients, they will all be reached out across many different channels. As you can see on the lower left-hand corner, Trinity identifies which one of these engagement channels works best for each patient and then uses that technology to bring them back to interact with the practice. The result of these actions across channels is that we will not only have identified which one works best for these patients, but we will also be able to deliver demand forecasts for the practice. It offers directionality and predictability of future revenue. This illustrates what new revenue is coming into the practice due to Trinity's deployed efforts. This dashboard will show you exactly which effort worked, when, with whom, how often, and most importantly, how much additional and new revenue it represents for the practice. In this case, Trinity's outreach activities are generating an additional $279,000 in new revenue for the practice. Moreover, Trinity will be able to show you how in action would impact your top line. In this case, $49,000 decrease in revenue. This level of predictability of revenue will allow the MSO that deploys our technology to better deliver for its investors. This is our multiplier force effect. Now, let's move over to see how Trinity amplifies patient interaction. The patient intake page ensures a provider has a 360-degree view of the patient's information before entering the treatment room. This allows providers to have, in one single location, access to all of the messages sent by the patient, as well as all of their treatment plans, product orders, etc. A full patient history. In addition to the full written history of the patient's interaction with the practice, Trinity allows the provider to see all the scans and readings that are charting the patient's progress, which allows the patient to see their skin health progress, as Joseph mentioned earlier, feeding into the gamification of beauty and offering patients a third party and objective reading of the progress their treatment protocols have had on their skin. This single page in our technology delivers hyperpersonalization that each patient actually is seeking. Moreover, this page is the result of Trinity's learning the provider's treatment philosophy. So not only is Trinity a tool that allows a patient to receive hyper-personalized treatment plans, but it's also a model that learns and recommends plans based on each provider's philosophy. No two providers have the same protocols. The model learns that as well. For instance, if you are a practice or an MSO that offers, in addition to metastatic services, hormone optimization, Trinity will learn and incorporate this combination of treatments into the recommendation that it will deliver to the providers of that practice. Thus, patients will always feel they have received the most value out of their interaction with their provider. Furthermore, Trinity gives all providers the sales tools to be able to upsell and cross-sell to each patient they encounter. One very important point to highlight here is that Trinity does not offer any medical advice to patients directly, but gathers the information, analyzes it, and delivers it to the provider, who will then use their expertise as a medical professional to make the final determination of the treatment and protocol to proceed with for the patient. How we ensure that we always deliver the most value to the patients is by tracking each patient's personality. In SaaS, we call this personas. On this dashboard, the model will classify each user into personas, which will then trigger interaction between Trinity and the patient. This is a growth map that delivers for our technology the basis for the reach out activities that it will undertake for rebooking of procedures and products. Since we're talking about products and procedures, Joseph will take you through the last prong of our Trinity.
So we've shown you how we frictionlessly connect the patient and the provider. We've shared how the treatment plan is vetted by the SME and likely includes procedures and products. Currently, practices buy products, track inventory and sales, and they make a margin on each sale. Our platform turns every practice into its own Amazon. Never again do they need to buy, store, inventory, or handle product. It's drop shipped directly from the manufacturer. So it works like this. The patient and the provider agree on a product mix in the treatment protocol. A link is sent to the patient, who merely fills out the credit card information and shipping information, the same behavior they engage in with Instagram store, TikTok shop, Facebook marketplace, etc. This is a behavior they already do. The products are then sent from the manufacturer directly to the patient, and at the moment of sale, the margin for the sale of that product is delivered directly into the practice bank account. Zero friction, one-click buy, 100% incremental revenue. Now, every site can customize its own product offering. That's the beauty of AI. We can make it do anything you want. We're in talks with MSOs that are a house of brands. They have 26 different locations. Each one has a different look and feel and a different product suite. Some of them have margin discount opportunities with L'Oreal or Galderma. All of that is baked into the background. So that means that all of those things are already factored in when the margin off the sale is delivered directly into their bank account. Now, naturally, we don't just stop there. Our AI will prompt users via push notifications to comply and use the products. And studies show that efficacy and scientific credibility are the two most important factors that consumers look for when they are selecting a skincare product. What's important here is that it's coming from their provider, and physician recommendations are the third highest ranked source of influence for consumers. They said they're heavily influenced by a professional recommendation. So in their treatment protocol, they're getting a product suite that's recommended to them by their provider, and now they have easy, unfettered access to it. Our AI will even know if your 30-day supply of a moisturizer is running low because it's been 30 days since you ordered it, and will prompt you to reorder. If you hit yes, the reorder is activated, the credit card is charged, the margin goes directly to the practice, and the manufacturer gets their COGS. So earlier on, we talked about the third of the tertiary pain points, right? And that was new patient recruitment. You can see here how the network effect is built into the use of our technology. To quote AOL John Dingy, he's the digital prophet of AOL, he said, "Your audiences have audiences." What this means is that we're flipping the paradigm. No longer is it incumbent upon the practice to consistently do the outreach and the social media and all of that heavy lifting. Let's face it, a lot of providers are not natural salespeople. But now if we flip it and we encourage the patient to engage in a meaningful way or create a meaningful engagement mechanism with the provider, and also the ability to share with their audiences. Their audiences have audiences, which means that the exponential effect of their reach far and away outreaches that of the practice's social digital footprint. So we're going to wrap this up by telling you about our pilot. It launches in the first quarter of 2025. It's designed to last for about 90 days. That's after about 2 to 3 weeks of some baseline setting, on-site training, and we're going to API into their current CRM and booking software and such. The goal is to create meaningful impact in these key areas. Now, over the course of this 3 months, our technology will be learning again and sort of confirming what we already know or assume. Then in the second 30 days, the modeling will be perfected. And in the final suite of those 90 days, we'll be adding to those models and perfecting them even further with each and every interaction. We're proud to say that we have 3 participants lined up for this, and we're probably at capacity for our pilot, and we have some very exciting outcomes we'll share with you in a moment. But those outcomes, well, they're about data, but more than data, they're about evidence. And to prove our hypothesis around the ability to solve these pain points, we've engineered a bake-off. Hey, Seuss, why don't you tell them what the bake-off looks like?
The idea of a bake-off consists of Trinity being deployed against half of the patient population of the MSO practices that are participating in the pilot, and then the MSO practice deploying its traditional outreach methods on the other half of the patient population. After 90 days, we will compare the results of our respective outreach activities. We will be able to show to the participants with in-depth granularity that Trinity was not able just to book appointments and reorder products, but we will be able to show them which channels were used to be able to reach those patients and create the most effective reactivation on the entire population, but also for each individual patient. Furthermore, we'll be able to see why and confirm to the pilot participants and investors that Trinity Technology is the best solution in the market to engage and re-engage patients.
Right. The pilot is designed to deliver proven evidence to benefits for all 3 segments. For patients, they'll have better managed expectations. They'll be more compliant, which leads to better results, which leads to more bookings and procedures and product sales. And finally, you have a provider in your pocket 24/7, always on. No more friction in the process.
From a practice standpoint, Trinity serves as an instant differentiator. Trinity prepares providers for deeper patient interaction. It allows practices to serve patients even when they're not able to come into the office via skincare regimen updates and reorders. Practice operators can see which providers, services, and business offerings are working and which ones are not. And it grants practices access in one single platform. From the investor standpoint, Trinity helps identify and share best practices across the MSO. It elevates the portfolio performance. It offers instant, deep, and broad insight into business analytics and delivers higher valuation. Why do we say higher valuations? We did a deep dive analysis across 11 MedSpas and derm offices over a 4-month period, during which we performed process mapping across all of them. From this deep dive, we were able to ascertain that Trinity can deliver in average a net 30% increase in overall practice revenue, a 21% non-surgical revenue increase. This top line increase is accompanied by a reduction in both COGS and operating expenses by 600 and 500 basis points respectively. Overall, this meaningful increase in revenue and decrease in cost translates into EBITDA margin increases of over 800 basis points, which therefore leads to the higher valuations that we mentioned. In conclusion, Trinity will enable you to capture your patient's entire wallet share for the beauty MedSpa expense. We're leaving no money on the table.
Exactly. Now, more than just another app to install in a practice, and unlike the Zanatis and Salesforce type apps, we are a comprehensive solution. For those of you who know Lord of the Rings, one ring to rule them all. Yes, you can actually do away with booking software, CRMs, and more, because Trinity is a holistic, functional, made by operators for operators with their investors in mind. However, realistically, unless you're a brand new MSO, we're probably best deployed as a companion app to your existing platforms. Think of it as a sidecar to a motorcycle. To this end, we'll API into those existing platforms and provide your staff with one place to input and extract data, a single pane of glass to gather those insights that are meaningful to the business. Our second step after the pilot is that we're going to take a roadshow. We have some folks across the world, actually, from Dubai, the UK, Canada, that are interested in learning more about the pilot's results as a means of considering taking us on. Now we'll wrap up here. Please understand that this is just a tip of the iceberg as a showcase of our technology, how it's designed to impact patients, practices, lead to greater bookings, product sales, and even compliance. We've shared what we're doing now. We've shared what we'll be doing in the coming quarter and our expectations for deliverables off of that. But should you want a deeper dive or a bespoke show and tell, there's a Calendly link in the chat and one is coming to you by email. In addition, this presentation has been recorded, so if you wish to socialize it or share access, you may do so. With that, on behalf of all of us at Trinity Aesthetics, we thank you for your time and wish you a beautiful holiday.